I'm Mandy, and this is my journey to self-discovery. I'm 41, spent 20 years in corporate, the past 7 years as an entrepreneur, and have 4 businesses. I've spent my whole life highly driven by success and achievements. Now I'm putting it all on hold while I tackle my biggest life questions. Why am I here on this planet? What am I here to do? What's my life's purpose? What's in it for me? This is me without the mask, slowly shedding the old self in pursuit of my real self. I'm back and recapping what's been going on for the last couple of weeks. So if you caught the last video, I was preparing for a quantum hypnosis session, and this was the first time doing this. This was a chance to have conversation with my higher self, which is the reason that I started this entire YouTube channel. It's prompted this entire kind of sabbatical that I've been on for the last 6 months and trying to figure out why I'm here, figure out what my purpose is. And so over the last 6 months, I feel like I've had this much stronger connection with what I have learned as my higher self, and synchronicities and signs and just higher vibrations and just this kind of inner knowing. And I think it's what I've been looking for for a long time. And I've been searching outside of me, for everyone outside of me, everything outside of me, not knowing that it was all inside. And so I was getting all these signs. I was getting a lot of guidance on businesses and direction. And about a month ago, it was the first part of the year, I got some signs that led me in the direction of a potential partner for one of our businesses. And I was so excited because I just felt like this is the new way. This is not new, this is the way to live. Instead of forcing and efforting and trying to make things happen, instead just waiting for that divine inspiration to come. And that divine inspiration led me directly to a path of who I thought was the next partner. And then it didn't turn out the way that I hoped. And that set me down a path of just a lot of questions, starting to kind of wonder, is all of this really real? What's going on? And so then I started the journey again outside of myself, but yet to still try to, to have this conversation with my inner being, with my higher self. And so I scheduled a session with someone who does quantum hypnosis. Quantum hypnosis is putting you into a trance-like state to bypass your mind and have a discussion with your higher self. And so I was super excited. I don't know anyone that's ever done it. I'd heard about it, but I didn't know anybody who'd ever done it. Didn't know what to expect. I didn't want to overthink it, so I just went into it. It was a 6-hour session. And so drove 2 hours. We were going to film the whole thing, and we did. We filmed it all. And it was wild. I spent most of the time was spent talking to the person who was doing the hypnosis session, she was asking a lot of questions. We were going through all of my 25 questions, kind of just figuring out if, rewording them as needed, just having those discussions, going through a lot of it. And I felt during that time, I know my defenses went up a little bit. And there were a couple of times that I felt almost a little bit of a trigger. And it was just my own doing. Like I know I was very nervous, for sure. And as we talked and as she told me more about it, I actually got more nervous. And there were little things like I need to speak loud during the hypnosis session because that allows the spirit to come through. And if I'm not speaking loud enough, it won't come through. And that sometimes my voice might change, and as this is coming through me. And I don't know, and on top of that, I have multiple cameras on me, a mic, 2 mics, multiple cameras, I'm laying in a bed, 2 hours away, and I don't know, I definitely couldn't relax, despite how much I tried. The whole week I tried. I ate super clean, stayed away from coffee for most of the week, stayed away from any grains. That morning I strategized exactly what I was eating and what I was drinking, making sure my brain was super just clear and that I wasn't caffeinated. So I was so excited and I wanted that so bad. And so we started the hypnosis session, and again, I didn't really know what to expect, but long story short, I couldn't go into the hypnotic state. One of 10% who cannot be hypnotized. And I don't really believe that because I do self-hypnosis at home all the time, and I don't really have any problems with that. I don't know, if there's something about maybe this environment that I just, for some reason, had my guard up. And it was deep rooted. I didn't know it because I wanted it so bad. So anyway, that was it. So we traveled 2 hours there, 2 hours back, 6 hours there for this hypnosis session, had all the camera equipment set up. My husband came, and it couldn't happen. It didn't happen. And I felt the most extreme, like, sadness and frustration that I felt in an awful, awful long time. And I cried the entire way home. I was so mad at myself. I was so mad that I wanted this so bad, that I've been on this journey for this time and a whole lifetimes. And I wanted this so bad, to have this discussion with my higher self. And so I just felt I started to just spiral down. I was angry. I hated myself, truly hated myself in that moment. And that for quite some time. It actually went on for a while. And then, and just the anger, I was just so sad and so mad. And what happened then after is I just started to feel like, because I felt zero self-love, is that I started to lash out. I mean, I that night I felt my anger, I lashed out at people around me, just angry, bitter. And it took a little while to bounce back out of that. And the whole way home, I just kept thinking that, there is nothing different than me and the heroin addict right now. There's nothing different than me and the heroin addict right now, because we are both searching for the same thing. The only thing that makes them better is that they get a high, and I don't, and I'm miserable. And that was my mentality that whole way home. It was a pretty deep couple of days, deep and dark, really. And I now know that it all serves. It all serves. And that is a chance for me to there's so much that comes out of that. I mean, if we look at the world right now, and if you look at the things that happen in the world, I mean, you can easily pinpoint all of that back to self-love. I mean, when we don't have self-love, we don't care about anything. We are destructive, and we can be destructive. And that's exactly how I felt. So I spent the next couple of days trying to not wreak too much havoc on those obviously around me, and just climb myself out of this hole. Before I left the hypnosis session, I did agree to do what was called a surrogate person who would step in, have the same session, somebody who has been through this process multiple times before. He or she would step in and just do the session on my behalf, and they would send me all of the answers. So the therapist was going out of town for a month, so I said, okay, that's fine, I'll do it. And knowing that it probably would be like a month or so before we would get, the results back. And so I just put it out of my mind, and I said, okay, this is a solo journey. And I felt very much this is a solo journey. Maybe I'm just not meant to have other people come in that capacity and to share that with them. And I just need to kind of figure out, how I can have this conversation and climb out of this hole. And so strangely enough, I actually found a higher self hypnosis recording online and did it. And I don't know. I mean, I guess I kind of knew a little bit about what I might expect just from that session, but I did actually have one kind of vision that came to me, only one, but it was to tell your story. And that was a big message. And I'd heard that message multiple times, like to tell your story. So that was where I was at, and I was starting to kind of climb, back out of this and, get back into that higher vibration. And I knew that I could and that I would do it. But again, that time was of deep learning, and it served. It brought to light, again, that deep emotion of self-love. And if I've ever questioned what it's like to not feel self-love, well, that was that. That was what it felt like. And so then it was very strange. A couple of days later, I just got a call from the therapist who said that she was able to do her session before she left to go to town. She had all the information for me. And so we scheduled a call. We went through it, all the questions that I had were answered. And I'm still, I have all of the answers that I was looking for. So some of the answers to some of the questions, I mean, one of the questions was, why couldn't I go down in the hypnosis session? And It was exactly as I deep down felt, that I had fear and I had doubt, and that I was actually afraid that that type of communication might be true, that that type of communication with non-physical beings might be true. Even though I listened to so many channel texts, even though I've had a psychic reading, even though I've, participated in that, it was different because it was coming through me this time, and I just had some deep-rooted fears about that. And that was exactly the way that I felt when I stepped away. Some of the guidance that came back is that I have been stuck in the world of not deserving it, and that sometimes I feel that, especially when it comes to money, that I feel if it involves a large sum of money, I feel that the large sum is disproportionate to the amount of time spent. That old, the mentality that that you work to earn your hours, and that if you don't work, that you don't earn money. And so that's a deep-rooted belief of mine that is actually self-sabotaging me. And that's a belief that I am continuing to work on. And so when I have those feelings, it creates the doubt, it creates the unworthiness, it all starts to creep in, and it blocks the allowing process. And so that's where I'm at. And so those beliefs are what's self-sabotaging me. I got confirmation on all these dreams and signs that yes, those are coming from the non-physical world, and that they know that I'm asking them to come to me. I mean, I ask, come to me in my dreams and give me signs and messages in my dreams. They said that, they know that. What I'm not asking is to remember them. I didn't know you had to ask to remember them. So that's the other step, that you not only ask for them to come to you in your dreams, but that you also remember them in your waking state. It is like this small little thing that now I know, and now that can all change. They told me so much about I'm just very scattered, and the scatter is diffusing the possibilities. So because I'm so scattered and I can't seem to, and I'm struggling to focus, that's what's diffusing all of the possibilities. And so I received the guidance on what type of meditation. For me, it was to, meditate what's called the square. And I don't know a whole lot about meditation like practices or which ones are the right ones to do, but to meditate the square, which would be, so start in the, a corner and breathe in for 4 counts, hold for 4 counts, breathe out for 4 counts. Then bottom part of the square. And then you just keep doing that until you can start to then hold it for 5 counts and then 6 counts. And all of that is going to calm my mind down so that I can start to, that's the biggest thing, is just calming my mind down. And so that was big on the meditation part of it. I asked, how can I be of most service right now? And I even gave examples. Is it, companies? Is it kids? Is it, those suffering from addiction? And I got the exact guidance that I was looking for in the exact path. And it also said that some of the path will be made clear as I get out of my own head, but that, that this is the area that really I can be of most service in right now. Yet again, I got more information to write about the journey, that I am spending time in other dimensions. I'm sure we all are, higher dimensions, different dimensions, whatever. But it's subtle. It's not that I always feel it, but I will feel that more as I start to quiet my mind and kind of be present and become in the now. It confirmed that I asked if I'm a wanderer, and if you've heard of the term light workers or indigo children or whatever that might, all wanderers is like an origin, I guess, and that was confirmed, which I already knew and felt that. I remember reading a book where I learned about wanderers, and I felt this energy come through my body that I've never experienced before. I mean, I was certain that was it. It talked about anxiety, or that was one of the things that came up, was about anxiety. And this was, I thought, really interesting because I had anxiety very bad when I was younger. I'm probably, I don't know, maybe 10 up and through early 20s, and through a lot of at that time, a lot of internal work which not at this level, at a different level. Didn't even know what anxiety was. We didn't have a name for it. But, I learned that that's something that I've kind of put in my past. But because I also had anxiety for so long, my coping mechanism for anxiety is this controlling, that controlling everything, and wanting to control, because that's how you feel safe. That's how I felt safe, is to control everything. And part of that might be also why I have a hard time just kind of letting go, releasing, and surrendering, is just because of that control. That was how I was able to minimize anxiety. But the greatest thing, though, and I felt this for a while, that doesn't resonate with me anymore, and that was confirmed, that is no longer, it doesn't belong to me anymore, and they confirm that. That's their exact words, is the anxiety does not belong to me anymore. Sometimes I move into it, though, out of familiarity, because I know what that feeling is so much, but it doesn't belong to me, and just to let it go. And that's great, and that's a great sign that of progress. And so when we feel like we have these things, we might suffer with them forever. We don't. We can let them go. We just release them. So, and then also I found out a little bit about, the kids, and these were also some things that I had already suspected. One was that my youngest one, my little one, is a crystal child, and I had suspected that for a while. It's a really, really great story. I remember reading about crystal children and thinking that, oh, this is definitely my little one. And I wondered, could he really be a crystal child? And I remember him, I picked them up at school, and he came running across the street, and he had his fist closed. And he said, Mommy, look at what one of my friends gave me at school today. And he opened up his palm of his hand, and inside of his hand were 2 little crystals. And my heart just melted. And I said, oh my gosh, I was like, that's so wild of you. Has he ever done that before? Have you ever had that? He's like, no, he just brought them in today, and he gave me 2 of them. And I knew right then that was the confirmation that he is a crystal child. And that was yet again confirmed. But they did give me some really good guidance on how to work with him to make sure that he too is meditating, and that he meditates 1 minute for how old he is, and he's 10. So really getting him into the practice of meditating as well for 10 minutes a day will help him, because he's got, because he has special gifts, and helping to kind of, channel perhaps those gifts and discover them, and also kind of quieting that mind too is really important. So that was really, really helpful. And then I just got the final guidance, which was to love yourself as we love you, and to focus, and to meditate, but just to quiet the mind. And so it was, and there was more, there were 25 questions. And that also, if I came back in 6 months, that I would, with these meditation efforts in 6 months, I would definitely be able to go into the hypnosis session. So that's where I'm at right now. I mean, I feel like I've got great, guidance on what's next. Everything is validated. And everything that all these these signs of synchronicities, it's all validated. And it's just been a matter of just kind of, getting back, kind of climbing back out of that deep sadness that I was in from it originally. And I believe it all works out. It all works out exactly as it should. I didn't see that in the moment, but I certainly do now. But I think there is so much that comes from that about self-love, and just how amazing life is when we do love ourselves. I mean, we cannot give to others what we don't have within ourselves. So that's why that self-love is so, so important. I mean, that is the first love. That is the most important thing, I think, that we can all kind of find and practice and live every moment. So that's what I've been working on. I can also see how destructive we can be and self-sabotaging when we don't have that. And that we are far, far more powerful than we realize. And I've learned these great affirmations over the last couple of months. And the first affirmation was, galore, galore, I have everything I want and more. So galore, galore, I have everything I want and more. That there is nothing in this now moment, right now, there is nothing that we need. We have everything we want and more in this now moment. And if we can embrace that, then that sets us up for the next moment and the next moment. But oftentimes we get used to living in the past or living in fear. And if we're living in fear, we're not living in the now moment. We're living in the future. And if we're always thinking about the past, well, then we're living in that vibration. And so it's really about living right now in the present. So galore, galore, I have everything I need and more. And then as we progressed, it was galore, galore, I have everything I want and more. and continuing to practice that and really just embody that. And now it is galore, galore, I am everything I need and more. And that's the powerful one. That we have that much power inside of us. We have everything we need and more all inside of us. And that is the best. That's what we are all kind of searching for, I think, right now. We are all looking for that. And many, probably like myself, have been searching outside for what is that, when truly it is all inside of us. So that has really, I call this kind of my journey toward finding my purpose. And it's probably more the journey of the Great Awakening. It is the Great Awakening, the awakening to who we really are, to how powerful we really are, and that we are everything that we need. And that has been the biggest, that's really what's happened in this journey. So now I get to live that. And I've got the guidance. It is just, it's self-love every day. And it's knowing that everything that we need is already within us. And I find, though, that as I start to believe that and embody that, I feel the higher vibrations coming back. I see the signs. I see the cardinals. I see the pennies. I did find validation of what that is. Pennies are signs from, in my case, from someone, a former old family member who kind of keeps me on my path. He leaves me pennies to guide me. And the cardinals are loved ones that are appearing. And the number signs that I always get are what I'm looking for. I know I have a place that I go to kind of to tell me what the numbers are when I see number patterns, and that's what those mean. So I'm starting to see all of that again. I'm starting to see the signs, the patterns, the synchronicities are starting to all come back. I'm starting to feel really, really good, and I'm starting to feel like the next phase in the journey is starting to open up again already. I mean, this awakening journey is never ending. It never ends, but I already feel like I'm taking the next step into something bigger, deeper, grander already. I already have been guided to a couple of books and some more deeper learning that's taken me even further into what's happening right now on this planet, this massive great awakening that we are all feeling. And, that millions and millions and millions and millions are going to be feeling over the next couple of years. This is our great awakening. We are awakening to who we truly are, that we are love and the power within us, and awakening to higher vibrations. And some may even call it the ascension to a higher, of living this life experience in higher vibrations. It is so crazy cool. And so anyway, that is my journey into self-hypnosis. So still got the answers and got to experience at least what the whole process is like. I don't know if I'll go back and do it again in 6 months. I don't know. I guess we'll see. Who knows? I mean, so much happens in 2 weeks. I can't even imagine where things will be in 6 months. It's just hard to tell. But it has been a really fun part of the journey, and I think this is all great. I mean, I think that it's all so helpful. That's what I think, that I love that we have people like this who kind of practice these different modalities that are able to help us to sometimes get the answers that we maybe aren't ready to receive ourselves yet, through our own body, through our own way, or we're just not there yet. So I'm super grateful for all of those who have been able to kind of help along this path. So I will continue to share more with you as kind of things come up, and as I guess I feel inspired to share more with you. But I think that definitely this has been, in hindsight now, kind of the culmination of this Great Awakening period. So thank you so much for watching and for following along, and I can't wait to be back again soon. Take care.